Am I streaming? Okay, we're actually just gonna do it from the browser. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Are we live? We are live. Okay, cool. So I need this. Let's see. Where's my... There we go. Share. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste this over in my group. Boom. Cool. Post. Awesome. And I'm going to paste this in my Facebook Live. Doobie-doobie-doo. Yes, I want to post. That's not what it is. Okay, let's go back here. Change this. Can we change it? I need to change it. Crap. Figma. Beginner. Oh. Lesson 01. All right, this will be live. And this is going to be about Figma. Working on a Figma lesson plan for a educational course. I don't know if that all has to be capitalized. Okay, can you hear me? Let me know in the comments. I'll save this. Okay. All right. We have no one. Just make sure I get this shared. I'm using Figma just in a browser. So you go to figma.com, right? And then set up an account if you don't have one yet. If you're a student or a teacher, you can use an educational account. But it is free, and everything that I'm doing in this video, you can use with the free version. We'll get started here in just a minute. So if you have any questions, get those ready for the comments. I'm going to make sure that I have the comments open here on my phone so I can see what's going on in real time. All right, so here's what I have started right now. I've basically written out bullet points for the first 5 lessons, or the first 5 video course content. And I'm kind of planning it out here live with you guys. So let me see, pull up the chat. Where's the chat? Can you hear everything okay? Everything coming through all right? Let me know. There we go. Okay, so figma.com, go there, set up your account, and then we're going to get started. And actually, the first thing I'm going to do is pull in. This is just a cool little tool. So get that open in one tab. I like using a Google Chrome browser, which you can do this in any browser. Part of the purpose of this is to create a course that students in high school can use. It's going to be a little bit geared towards like really all ages. and it'll be progressive. So we'll get deeper and deeper and deeper into the tools and the features, as well as cover some design fundamentals as we go through it. So check out this resource as well. Just open a new tab and go to Coolors, COOLORS.co. That's not right. COO. There we go. With an S. And then I'll show the screen here. Coolors.co. All right, here we go. Make sure you can see the screen. All right. Cool. We'll get some welcome messages here. You can close those down. It tells you what's new. There's some cool new things with Coolors. It's a really, really great website for creating color palettes very quickly. You can create an account and you can save them. But one of the things I really love about this site is that you can generate PNGs, you can generate SVGs, you can generate, I think, PDF, AI, and Photoshop palettes super fast. And I'm actually going to, so let's just go to the generate right up here. Generate. We'll click on the generate. So if you want to just jump right there, it's coolors.co/generate. And we get another welcome message. It says, ready to see how fun and easy it is to create a palette with Coolors. Fast blinking colors may potentially trigger seizures. Okay, so we just get a little warning message. And here's a tutorial. I'm just going to close this. So we don't need that. And I'm going to close down some of these other windows that we don't need. Coolors also has an app, and I believe that they have a Chrome extension as well. We don't need to mess with any of that. So here it is, right? And what we can do is just hit spacebar, and it will generate a random color palette of harmonious colors every time we hit spacebar. It's a fantastic tool, and I love it. One thing that we're going to do, okay, is because this is going to be geared toward schools, I'm going to grab a color that is for a school that I'll be doing some work with, and their color is this orange color, and I've saved it with the what is this called? Let me see. Color picker. Colorzilla. Okay, Colorzilla is a Chrome extension. You can basically gives you an eyedropper tool, a little pipette icon, and you can grab colors from the web. Basically, anything that you see on the screen in a web page, you can grab a color. And you can open up the color picker window and get the hex code. And so that's what I want. I'm going to copy this to the clipboard and use this in my center color here. So right here it says select color. I'm going to click in that and paste in that color. And I've got the hex code in there. So there's my orange. And I'm going to lock this. There's this little lock icon. I want to lock that. And what this will do now is every time that I hit spacebar, it will generate a harmonious color palette with that sort of primary color in mind. And so you'll get these just great color palettes. There we go. So hit spacebar, we get variations every single time we hit spacebar. And the AI in this does a really good job of sort of arranging colors with this color in mind. And it even gives us a color name here, which is red-orange color wheel. There's just a lot of really cool things in here that we can do. So I'm just going to hit this a few times until I find something that I like. I want to have something that's sort of a broad range. So I have some dark values and some light values. I like this one, okay? But I think that I need a little bit darker color. I'm just going to hit it a few times. It's so much fun to play with, and we will get to Figma, I promise you. Okay, this is good. Let's stick with this. So here's what we can do. We'll go to export right up here, Click on that and look at all the different things that we can export. We can copy the URL. We can export a PDF, an image. We can get the CSS, the ASE, which I don't even know what that is. If you know, let me know in the comments. What I want is the SVG. I'm just going to download the SVG, and you can do this on a Chromebook as well. Okay, so everything that I'm showing you here, you can do on a Chromebook. It works exactly the same way on a Mac, a PC, even on Linux, because it just works in your browser. So now I have an SVG that's automatically downloaded to my downloads folder. I like doing it this way because you can actually pull the SVG right in from your download. I call this the drawer. It's like a little drawer. When you hit a download, it gives you this little pop-up down at the bottom of your browser here. And you can see here I've started this lesson plan, and this is exactly what we're going to end up creating. But what I want to do is actually create a new file. So I'm just going to go up here to the little hamburger menu, go to File, click New. Okay, so I've got the reference here. This is what I'm going to try to recreate and do this live. And hopefully get some feedback from you guys. Regina Woodward, hey. She says, watching, I love this app. Okay, thanks for being on here. Yeah, coolers, such a cool thing. So that's how we're getting the colors. We're generating all of this. And that's what I have right here, this palette 1. And here's my new document. I don't have anything in here yet. So right down here, I'm just going to grab from my drawer. I don't even have to open up my folder. Drag and drop it right into the workspace area here in Figma. Now I've got my colors in here, and these are vector shapes. I get some information. I don't really need it, but what it does is when you import an SVG, it creates a frame and sort of contains all of the content in this SVG inside that frame, which is fantastic. So I've got my palette 1 right here. And now what I want to do is create a new frame for my lesson, right? My artboard, okay? So I can just deselect or select anywhere in this paste board area. I call this like a paste board, which I think is great. I love programs that allow you to sort of work outside of a canvas, and then when you're ready to create something for exporting, create a frame and work on that just like you would a canvas. So I've got my palette sitting over here. I want to hit F on the keyboard, or you can select it from right up here. You get this, it's almost like a hashtag icon, right? And that's where you see frame. And frames are like your artboards or your canvases. So you can select it from there, or you can just hit F on the keyboard. And you can just drag, click and drag to create a new frame, or you can select, once you hit F, you get the inspector panel over here on the right-hand side. And I'm going to go to the social media drop-down and select Instagram post, which is 1080 by 1080. And I'll just click it, and it will automatically create a 1080 by 1080 frame. I like, just because of I'm OCD, I go over here to the X and Y values. This is under the Design tab, and put these at 0. That way I know my first frame in this document is just sitting on 0. That's just something I like to do. Then I can sort of arrange my workspace here. I like to put these like 50 pixels apart. Not necessary, but just something I like to do to sort of keep my workspace nice and tidy. So we're going to start by creating some shapes and then using this color palette that we generated with coolers to assign colors. The first thing we're going to use is a rectangle. So right up here in your toolbar, which is really, really simple. It's very simplified. It's really easy to sort of navigate and just click it, and you get a drop down of all the different shapes that you can create. Or you can hit R. You can see the corresponding shortcut keys right there. I'll just hit R on the keyboard, and I'm going to hold Shift while I click and drag to create a square. And I want to see back over here exactly what my dimensions are. I did a 300 by 300 square, and all of my shapes are then going to be 300 by 300. So you can click and drag, hold Shift to grab a corner and resize it. You can use the Design tab over here, and your Y and H values. Make sure your constrain the proportions is clicked. If it's not, make sure it's locked right there. And I can just type in 300, And I've got a 300 by 300 perfect square. Cool. And I'm just going to hit I on the keyboard and grab my first color from my palette right up here. And so we get this nice little zoomed in view over here in the right hand corner. Let me grab that first color. There we go. Let's create an ellipse. So again, we can select that from our shape drop-down menu here, or we can see O is our ellipse. Kind of makes sense. O is a circle. So we're just going to do the same thing. Click and drag, hold shift to create a perfect circle. And then back over here, we'll type in 300. And you only have to do the one value, either the width or the height, as long as the constraint proportions is locked. It will automatically make that the same value that you type in. All right, now we have a perfect circle. And I'm going to hit the eyedropper tool again, just I on the keyboard, and grab my second color. There we go. So we're going to fill up this artboard with these different shapes. We've got a triangle, which, so I'm just flipping back and forth to my reference tab here. This is Figma. It runs in your browser, so you can just go back and forth from your open documents right inside of your browser. Really cool and really fast. All right, the triangle is located. Let me move these to give myself a little bit more room. Again, under the shape menu, it's just called a polygon. We're going to do the same thing, click and drag, and create a triangle. Back over here again, we're going to type in 300 into the width, and now we have a triangle. Now, the polygon is interesting. You see we have this extra space here around the triangle. I'm just going to leave it like that because these are sort of like smart shapes. And first I'm just going to assign it a color again. I want to show you another way that you can assign colors. If I click on my orange color right up here in the palette that we generated, I can use Control Alt and C. So I'm holding down Control Alt and then pressing C. That will copy the attributes of that shape to the clipboard temporarily. Then I'll click on my triangle and just Control V to paste. Just another way that you can assign colors very quickly. The cool thing about copying attributes is if I had any other attributes on this shape, for example, a stroke or an effect, it would copy those things as well. We'll get into that later on. All right, so now we've got a triangle. There's another way that we can create shapes very quickly, especially with the polygon shape, because it's kind of like a smart object. It's a smart shape. You see we get these little circle icons here, and what this allows us to do is change the count of points or how many lines in this polygon. We can also change it right over here in the inspector panel. You see over here it says 3 on the count. If I hover over that, it says, gives me a little tooltip that says count. So I can create another triangle, or I can just hold Alt and drag a duplicate. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to hold Alt and drag that triangle back out. And I think that what I did is created a what's 5? Let's see, that's a 5-sided shape. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro. I don't know what that is. So we'll just type in 5 here. And there it is. Again, eyedropper tool. Let's grab our next color. There we go. Hold Alt and drag another one. And I think we did this one at 6. So we're just upping our count of sides, how many sides these shapes have. And we'll grab our last color here and make it that color. The last shape that we have is a star. And again, we'll go to our toolbar right up here and drop that down and grab the star. Now, stars are also smart shapes, and we can add more points to them. We can round the corners. We can adjust how deep the points are. And we'll just click and drag to create that. And again, I'm going to make it 300 by 300. And I'll just go ahead and grab the first color again. There we go. So now we have all these different shapes. Let me just show you what we can do with the star. We can change the ratio. This is the depth of the points, like that. I'm just going to hit Control Z to undo it. We can change the count. So we can create like these starburst or sunburst effects, like that. And we can grab the top circle here and pull in the corner radius, so we can create these like starfish or softer shapes. Really, really cool. Now what I want to do is line these things up into a grid. So I'm just going to lasso select all of the shapes. So I just click and drag until everything is selected. I've got this light blue outline around everything. And once we do that, we get this little icon down here that looks like a grid. We can click that and it will just put everything into a grid. It will place them like an exact distance apart from each other, and we can adjust this over here as well. So now with everything selected, I can say I want these to be horizontally, let's say 30 pixels apart, and vertically 60 pixels apart. And you can change that to whatever you want. Let's make it 60 and 60. Here's what that looks like. Let's change it so we have a little bit more vertical spacing and make it 100. Now with everything selected, we can use our smart guides, which is our little pink lines here. And you see those turn red when we start moving it around. And I'm going to just align everything to the center, maybe give it a little bit more vertical spacing, let's say 200. And just realign that again. So there we go. We've got all the different shapes that you can create. Of course, because these are smart shapes, we can continue manipulating them and adding points, taking points away. We can give them rounded corners. We can do a lot of really interesting and cool things. This is just sort of an exercise on like finding where these tools are, creating the shapes and then assigning attributes to them, just like a color fill. And that's pretty much what this lesson would be about. Then we'll get into some more deeper stuff here. So we can have gradients, we can have pattern fills, and we can have photo or image fills. And that will be for lesson 2. So there we go. We've got palettes. This cooler thing is really, really awesome. We can continue generating interesting color palettes. Ooh, I really like this one. So let's just go ahead and click export. Let's grab the SVG again. And I'm just going to show you where these are being downloaded. They're being downloaded to my downloads folder here. Here's my first palette. Here's my second palette. And again, in Figma, I can just grab them from my download drawer, click and drag, drop it right into Figma. And I think this one's a little bit more fun. The white color here won't show up very well. It's actually white. It's 6 Fs is white for your hex code. But some of these other colors, maybe the star, so I don't reuse the same color. It's using that orange sort of as the anchor color and creating palettes that are harmonious. So let me grab this maybe blue color. That's interesting. So that's it for now. I'm going to sign off here. Thank you guys for watching. Just sort of me practicing out some of these lessons and seeing, hopefully get some feedback from viewers. I'll probably leave this up on my channel. Hopefully it'll help somebody who's just getting started with Figma. We can generate color palettes with the coolers.co, drag and drop the SVGs right into Figma, so we get vector information with all the hex codes in here in a nice sort of organized way. And as soon as you use any color in Figma, it will save it to your swatches here. So we have document colors. Here's all the colors now that are being used. So it makes it really, really easy if I just want to create a new rectangle, hit R on the keyboard, and you don't have to have a frame to start creating things. And I'll just click and drag a rectangle like this. And over here in the inspector panel, I'll click on the color over here, and it will open up my color window. And here's all my colors that are being used in this document, and I can quickly assign new colors, just like that. or I can use the Eyedropper tool. There's just lots of different ways that you can use whatever is best for you, whatever you find is most comfortable. The Eyedropper tool is really fast and really, really powerful. You can copy attributes. So if you have things like drop shadows or inner shadows, let me just show you some of the effects that you can add. Over here again in the inspector panel, we can add a drop shadow. Let's make that a little bit more prominent. Let's make it, we'll change the y-axis to something like 20. See the shadow there? And let's add the blur. Let's go to 20 there. It's a nice little drop shadow. And if we want to copy those attributes to a different shape, Control-Alt-C. Let's try this square over here. It will also copy the color. So I'm going to change the color and add that drop shadow with one paste command, Control-V. It pasted both the color and the drop shadow to that shape, just like that. Let's see, Joseph. Hey, how you doing? Thanks for watching. I'm going to take your class when you offer it. Well, thank you, man. Really simple. Getting started with Figma. There's your shapes. Look at all of our layers over here that we have now. And it's really nice and organized. Here's our first palette. Let's rename this second palette. We'll get rid of the parentheses there and just call it palette 2. So we've got some color options. I'm going to move these to the top with Control Shift and the right bracket key. And you can collapse all of your layers with Alt L. This rectangle is not inside any frame. We can move it to the bottom with Control Shift and the left bracket key. And here's my daughter. Say hi to YouTube.
Hola.
All right. So I'll leave this on up on YouTube. If you guys have any questions, just leave them in the comments and give me some feedback on this lesson as I sort of move forward creating this lesson plan for Figma. Thank you guys, and bye for now.